Good day, everyone. Thank you for finding time to join. My name is Adiele Kelechi, and I'm going to be taking you briefly into your Sage One Cloud Accounting, and um, basically to take you through um, major tasks you're going to be engaging in while working with your software. Basically, Sage One Cloud Accounting is an accounting software that actually helps to manage the finance operations of an organization. Um, um, it has five major modules: accounts receivables, accounts payable, accounts be reduced with customer related transactions, account payable, supplier related transactions. Um, you have your fixed asset module that handles assets, things like your asset registers. It also has your banking that does most of your bank transactions, and you can also perform your bank reconciliations. And of course, it has the basic reports. So basically, the purpose of this course is to walk you through finding your way around, logging in, and performing basically um, accounts accounts receivable transactions, which is sales related transactions. And we will take this course in phases as we go. Now, first of all, on your screen, you can see I'm on Sage One Cloud is an online accounting software, so you can access it via your mobile device, via your laptop, or any other device that can have access to the internet and that has a browser. So basically, the data is stored in the cloud, so you don't need to worry about issues of hardware issues. Anywhere you are in the world, you can log in and perform your transactions on a day-to-day basis. So basically, what we have seen is just an open page. Using my browser, Google Chrome. Now, the first thing I want to do is to find my way around logging into my Sage One Cloud accounting. So the first thing I do is you can either go at the top of your browser or you can use your Google search to search Sage One. So immediately you type Sage and type one, it will give you suggestions. So I'm going to select Sage One login or Sage One accounting, whichever one. So I'll select Sage One login. It's going to bring open this Sage One login page. So you see Sage One accounting login. You click on it. You can say whether using your phone or using your tabs or your laptops or your desktops, doesn't matter. So at this point, you're going to provide your username and your password, which has already been sent to you guys. So provide your username, provide your password, and log in. I'm going to be going live into the company. You can change this to your country, Nigeria, or whatever country, of course, that you're doing business with. So provide your email, provide your password, and login. Now, for demo sessions, which we'll most likely use for our transactions, where you see the option of demo just at the bottom. So the purpose of the demo is to give you an opportunity to play around the application and post transactions that are not real life. So, but let's log in and see what we have done so far with your Citron cloud. Remember, Plainsight Accounting Services is actually managing and implementing this program, and we hope that by the time we are done, hopefully you can go live and begin your task. So I click on login, and depending on the speed of your internet, um, of course, having a good internet is very, very important for you to actually enjoy this service. So in your login page, you have your home page that talks about your dashboards. These are quick transactions, very fast transactions. Instead of going into the modules, you can see your quick transactions just at your home page. Just briefly going through the tabs, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 menu bars, menu options. For the home, these are the home provides you with your dashboards. Basically, dashboards are like interfaces, different interfaces. So, for those who will be focusing more on customer related transactions, who will be doing things like invoicing, quotes, receipts, and the rest of them for customers, you will most likely have access to your customer dashboard. So I'm going to click on my customer dashboard, and you're going to, well, see basic information about your customer and all that. But this will be subject to what you have access to anyways. Um, the next is you can go back to your normal dashboard and briefly just take you through. Basically, you can see these are just few charts. Um, you can see top customers by sales, to-do list, banking. These are just chart views um, as regards some very key areas in your um, business activities. So of course you have quick views that also takes you through quick access areas. We're going to use the demo to demonstrate all these functions. You have your customers. Now for those who are going to be doing mostly customer related transactions, you're going to be on this tab. On this tab you have where you add your customers, where you have your list of customers and list of sales reps, where you perform your customer transactions, where you do your reports, customer reports, um, and special for adjusting opening balances, and of course your debtor manager that helps you look deeper into your debtor transactions. For those who are going to be into procurement, you also have your supplier tab where you have adding the new supplier, the list of suppliers, reports, special and transactions. Have items where you add your items or your services. When you perform specific, you have perform special transactions and have reports that is related to to your items or services. Banking is where you do most of your bank payments, of course, paying for expenses, other, and of course, you also have where you also do your bank reconciliations. Accounts is where you have your chart of accounts, where you can add new accounts, you can report, do account reporting, you have your various reports. Accountant area, where you have your basically your journals, some management reports. You can look at some basic management reports and for VAT adjustments and the rest. Reports is basically reports concerning the key modules in your Sage. Then for those who are going to be performing admin functions, you're going to have access to this area where you can import data, look at the company settings, export data, opening balances, and of course, admin where you have user rights and passwords. So basically, for the purpose of this course, we're going to be focusing on the customer related transactions. So I'm going to go back. I want to use the demo for this so that we don't actually. But before I go to the demo, for those who are going to be, let's just look at the list. So far, based on the information provided, we have been able to populate the list of your active customers and of course those that have balances as at 1st of January 2021. The balances have all been imputed. So the major task you have now is to start imputing invoices and receipts, um, that's part payments or full payments that have been received from your customers from the beginning of the year. And so that's a task so that you can update your um, receivables account and make sure that this balance is, um, follows throughout the year. Please, if you have any issues, please I advise that you go through the balances and confirm that they are correct because when you start entering invoices here, you might not be able to adjust these balances. So please work with the accounts team to make sure that these balances, as regards these customers, are truly correct. And, um, and of course, that confirmation. Once you have that confirmation, you can start posting your transactions. So I'm going to go back to do something very brief to use my demo. Okay, so I'll come here and click on demo company. For those who will not be, who want to just work on it, you can use your demo company to do your task. You see your transactions here, so you can see the beauty of your dashboard and how it has displayed basic information, sales history, top customers by sales, and the rest. So the first we're going to learn today is how to add a new customer, how to work on how to use your documents basically to do your day-to-day transaction. I know you're already familiar with some of these terms, but I'll just take you through a business process as fast as I can and see how we can, you know, um, post transactions using the customer document. So how do I add a customer? We already have customers on the list. In case you have new customers, click on add a customer. Here you can provide the customer name. If you wish to start with codes, you can put codes, then put a dash, put the customer name. You can use whatever font you feel is necessary. Um, the opening date, these are for customers that have balances. You have the credit limits. If you have policy on credit limits, you can do that. Here you provide the address of the customer, the email, the phone numbers, and all that. Um, Please, in your real life transactions, just at the default setting, you will see currency. When I'm done with this, I'm going to go back and show you. You, if this customer is a naira or a Nigeria is a customer is a naira customer, probably deals on you with your local currency, you have the option of selecting the currency. If this customer pays you in dollars or other foreign currencies, you have the options of picking your currency just at the bottom of the screen. But this is demo, so we don't have that feature activated at the moment. So once you can fill up all these other informations, it's important you specify if this customer is vatable or not. So if it's vatable, of course, in your real system, the real VAT is there. You can use the standard. If there's any discount that applies to this customer, you can put email distribution. Of course, how do you relate with him? You can decide to send invoices via email and all that. So basically, you have all this. You have other tabs here. Additional contacts. If you want to have more contacts, you can add designation, phone number, notes. If you want to make brief notes about this customer, user defined fields, types of customer, the branches, the salesperson, and all that. So these are, for example, for this customer, you want to do an invoice immediately, you can just do that from here instead of going to the main invoice page. So if you're done with creating with the basic information, the name, the address, the phone number, and the email, make sure you select whether it's a vatable, select the currency, which I'll show you after now, then you save. Now, save and new means you should save and open a new page. Why? When you save, it takes you to the list of customers automatically. Now, you might have a lot of customers, so I don't expect you to drill down to start looking for customers. Use your search option. Just type the customer, a few words. Don't need to type the whole name. And the customer is out and the details of the customer. So just use your search to search for customer information. The next we're going to look at is I'm just going to take you through these documents. The first is a quote. Now, depending on your business scenarios, A quote is a request by a customer to see your price list and every other option. A sales order is precedes a quote. So after you send you receive a quote from a customer, you send a sales order, which would refer to the quote if that is your business process. Some businesses do not use this document, they use the invoice straight. But for the purpose of training, I'm just going to go through one of them. They are the same, they can be used interchangeably. So I'll use a sales order. Probably a customer has called in to place an order for a specific service and all that. So I'll go to create an invoice or a sales order, go to customers, transactions, select sales order. The documents are easy. When you do that, click add a sales order. Select need to be fast. You don't need to just select AG. Okay, so this has codes. Remember, if your customer starts with codes, you need to remember the codes. If they start with the first letter, if the first with only alphabets, then you can just type the first letters. Only one is fine. Then select the date of the transaction, leave it at today's date. Um, Customer reference can be, you can be referencing a code number. If you're creating the sales order from a quote, you can call up the quote here, the dates, layout. I think basically the once you call out the name, set the date. If there are discounts, enter the discount amount. If there's no discount, to leave it blank. Select the service. Now, in your real life, you're going to see list of services that have already been created. I will briefly run through before I close. So remember, we're using a demo, so I'm going to select any of these services I have here. Click on enter so that it will call up the description. um, the price is by default on this item, so but you can actually make changes to those informations. VAT type, you will have the opportunity of deciding whether this item is vatable or not. So let's say it's vatable. No discount. The VAT, the invoice value is 150, the quantity is 1. You must provide a quantity whether it's a service or an item. But probably this, in terms of service, this really does not have an effect. Um, so you have 150, you have the VAT, and you have the total amount, which is the summary here. Now you have options of saving, save and new. If you have a new invoice immediately, for those who are going to be doing backlogs, you'll be using your save and new so that it can save and make your work faster. Save and open a new page. Print preview. If you click on print preview, it's going to show you basically um, a customized invoice that is generated by the system. You have the option here to print or to print current page. You can also save this report on probably on your system or to save it as PDF and all that. So if I click on save, for example, it's going to drop down this, that's converted this invoice to a PDF, so you can attach it and send it via email, or you can email this invoice. So if you just go back, you have the email option here. You can email this report, but because I'm in demo, that feature might not be active. If I click on email, just at the bottom here, email. Okay, I think my information is out because of that. So let me just do this fast. I think. Okay, so you have this, and you can just say email. So you call up the information. So remember, this email is in the customer information by default. So when I was creating the customer, that email you put there is very important because the system will pick the email at that point and do a brief report and automatically email this document to the recipient, which is your customer. So you don't necessarily need to be printing out invoices. Um, you can have pre-signed invoices, or depending on your operations, those that would require not printing, you can send directly. Those that require, you can continue with your process. So I'll cancel this and just let's briefly do this. Um, so this is fine. Then I'll just save. So now we sales order for Ajib. We actually have three of them, different amounts. So our sales order list is open. You can see now the status here is pending. So the next thing I'll do is an invoice. So enter a tax invoice. Same way, just select customer. It will tell you there's an outstanding sales order. So if you want to create your invoice based on that sales order, you say yes. If you're creating an invoice that does not have any relationship with the existing sales order, you say no. So let's say yes, I want to create. So you will see different SO numbers, that's sales order numbers. The three sales orders we created have sales order numbers. So this invoice you want to create, you need to tell the system for which particular sales order. So let's say it's for sales order 002. So click on it. So would you like to link it? Okay. So automatically the sales order information will display on the invoice. So you don't need to, you can change the date if the date of the invoice is different. It has referenced the sales order number. Then you have the option of emailing, printing, and all that. So save. Of course, here you have your bank details, which will hit your customers, which will appear in the document, your invoice document to your customers. So that's that. So we have Ajib on paid, and based on the due dates, to give you, so see this is 12 days due date, due date at the end of the month. So the next thing we're going to do is how do you receive? So credit memo is for return. So let's say you're returning an item. Let me edit this invoice. So to edit the invoice, you can open it up. If you have that access, you can open it up. Just double click on it. Let me increase this to 2 so that it can allow me to do some return and save. So you might not have the access of editing something that's already been posted. We might need to discuss if you have to edit any document that has already been posted. You might need to reach out to whoever is responsible, who has that right. So let's do a return, customer transactions, credit note. Credit note is a note that is issued to your customer when you return, when your customer returns item to you. So this, select. So you want to return from invoice. So you can return with reference to the invoice, and you return something on something that doesn't have on a non-existent invoice. So we want to return referencing that invoice. So use from invoice. We are returning one back. So the value should reduce. So what you should have now is this 172,500. We save. Okay, so you might have this from time to time. Not to worry, just refresh the page. Just right click and reload the page. I'll go back. Remember, this is demo, so um, in order not to double create, go back to your go to your to confirm if this transaction was actually go to your credit notes. Sometimes it might have gone, others not. So go to your credit note. You see now that the credit note has already been created for Ajib. So when you have errors, instead of recreating that process, go back to the source document and check whether that transaction went through. Internet can be unstable at some point, but just check whether it went through and confirm. If not, you can repost. So it went through. System has created a credit note number for that. Now, if you want to see a quick view of what we have done so far for these customers, go to quick view, go to customers. Um, so it will give you details about this customer. Go to Ajib. So you can see now that for the activities of for Ajib, the overview is here. Sales history, we have a tax invoice and we have a return. You can view all invoices for this particular customer. This you can look at all transactions for this particular customer. You can see the customer sales for the year and outstanding balance and all that. So these features make your navigation and your um, um, understanding and your transaction a little bit more user friendly and result oriented. So let's go back to customers transaction. Let's do a receipt. So go to receipts. So we can add a receipt. We are adding a receipt against our invoice. So select Ajib. Maybe you select Ajib, it will drop down your transaction with Ajib, which shows a balance. This is the balance here. The date, the payment method, the bank you're paying from, or you're receiving these monies into. Let's say you're receiving into National Bank. The receipt amount, you can come here. If it's part payment, please add the part payment amount. If it's full payment, add the full payment. So let's say this is a full payment of 172,500. Let's click your enter. Double click on this port. Okay, so you can either um, okay in your life. Okay, when you add this receipt amount, please come to this point. This receipt amount. Tell the system that you want to allocate this receipt amount to this invoice. So tick the allocate box. Receipt amount will display. Then you can process and print. You can process an email. If you want to send emails, receipts directly to your customers, you don't want to really print out stuff and sign and all that. You can, depending on the category of customers, you can process an email directly to your customer. Or if you're not sending, you want to just print later, you can basically just process. You can process and print too. Yeah, those are options available for you. So we have a customer receipt, which is this. So if you go back to your customer, quick view, go to your customer and select your customer. So you're going to see now that no outstanding and the outstanding amount is zero. The history of the transaction is here. If you want to see all transactions, you will see the receipt, which is this, see the invoice, see the return. So this gives you a breakdown of your customer transactions. Um, Go to transactions. Now, what if we have advance payments? Um, from our customer. Customer makes an advance payment and makes an and after the advance payment you actually give an invoice later. How do we do that here? So go to transactions, go to customer receipts, add receipts. So we are receiving the money um, in advance. So we received a 1 million. Reference is for rods. We received it into our national bank. The payment type is transfer. So at this point, just process. So we have received in advance from this customer, and we want to now we have probably we didn't have that service where we didn't have the manpower to perform that service immediately. So when we had when we had made all arrangements, it was time to invoice this customer as per job done or as per items delivered. So you go to customer transactions, create an invoice. Let's say out of the 1 million advance payment, we have done job of about in the first phase. So add an invoice. So we have done job for 750,000 or invoiced item for 750,000. Say there's an asterisk, please say no. This does have has nothing to do with the sales order. So we have a balance of 1 million. Um, the invoice was for adapter or rod, and then enter. The value of the invoice has exclusive price of 750,000. Okay, and there was VAT. So the value of the invoice is now 862. So we're going to save this and new. Also, in the future date, we invoiced this customer again. Remember, um, he paid 1 million as advance. We have done about 800 for something million. So this is the balance. And once again, we're invoicing him for carbon shoes for 6,000. Let's say for 100,000. So at the end, we have 115. What is due is 137. So, but of course, at this point, since our invoice, we will see the report and see how this goes. Okay, so this is done. So, so we have two outstanding invoices for Ajib, 862,000, 150. Now, the question now is why are these invoices open? Because it's saying unpaid, and we have received a down payment. The reason for this is because we have not told the system exactly which invoice that 1 million is to clear. Imagine if this customer has lots of invoices. So that is the process that we call allocation. The process we call allocation. So basically, if you go to customers transaction, allocate receipts. So this option is used when there is an advance payment and invoices later. The allocate receipt is to tell the system which amount was the advance payment that was received, which of the invoices that advance payment should clear. So if you go to allocate receipts, select the customer. So if you look at all invoices, you can also specify a particular invoice number if you have it, or let you just open all the invoices within this date range. All invoices from this, invoices between this specific invoice number, depending on your search criteria. So it has displayed. Now you can see the 1 million advance payment, you can see the two invoices based on the search criteria. So we want to tell the system that, because you might have lots of invoices. So we want to tell the system that this 1 million is for these two particular invoice. So what do we do? You click and you come to, when you go to any point, it's going to change your font to a little bit darker blue. So come to this font, hold, that's right click or left click, and drag the 1 million to the particular line item you want it to clear. So when you release your hand from the hold, you see now that the system goes to clear the 62862. You hold again. Remember, there's still unused amount here. Once you did that, there's an unused amount of 137,000. Hold again and drag to 115. Of course, you see now that the unused amount, which is the balance that is still due to our customer, is 225,000. But that 1 million has been used to clear these two invoices. You see, like a debit and credit sign. All right, save. So this is what we call document clearing or invoice clearing. All right. So you save, you have your receipt. If we go to the customer invoice, you will see now that it has changed the status of those invoices from unpaid to paid, because we have cleared. This is now showing paid because we have cleared the transaction. Okay, so basically, writing off is to write off balances, and of course, this will only be approved. This is when you're writing off bad debts from customer accounts. So it's very, very important that you make sure that um, management has approved and you have a policy on how to write off your debts. So remember, this has a balance. The amount you want to use to write off, you put it here. The system is going to write off the debt. So, but we advise that you have a policy on how to write off your bad debts and clear your accounts. The last but not the least is transactions, customer adjustments. This is for balances. Then reports, you have a lot of reports. Please take your time, go through them. Let me see customer statements, which is basically like you have your bank statement, you can also email and send customer statements directly to your customers. So I'm looking for a statement, the category, they're all good. So for services, the month range, please, you can do for a year, you can do for a month, current month, which is why, because you can tell the system to remove zero and negative. Okay, I think I need zero. Okay, like, depending on what you want. So I can view reports. I can also email reports. I can distribute my statements that I just want to view. There is no data within range, so I'm going to go back. Um, this is first. Okay, remove this. Date range 1st of May to 31st. So if you can't do this, probably the demo version of this won't let us. Okay, so what I did was to untick these two options. Select this option to exclude customers with zero balance. Okay, negative. So just untick this and view your report. That it can give you with no exclusions. So of course you can see your customer statement, which is like a balance. But let's see if we can get a full statement of all the transactions. So let's look at more criteria. Let me see this. Okay, I think I need to also check. Okay, I think I need to check this option. Consolidate all, choose the option on paid transaction only. Let me remove this. Let me view. So please be patient. So this will give you a full customer statement. And from here, you can email, you can print this report and you can email this report directly to your customers. So the issue of using a lot of paper, take note that at the point of creating your customer, entering their right email addresses will be very helpful. Will be very, very helpful. So based on the information we had, most of those customers we didn't have their email address details. So it's easy for the one you have. Just go to your customer list of customers. Um, Let me check for my Ajib. See, I just put one. Let it drop down all the customers that have or can use Ajib. Sorry. Okay, so we have this. We have this. So if you want to add, you can edit. Double click on it. Go here. So this is where it picked the testing at Gmail you use. So enter the email that the official email of your client so that it can be receiving emails because the system would do that automatically. So there are a lot of reports here, reports for quotes, sales orders. There are also adjusting open balances. This is for depending on when you're migrating your data, happens only once. So today you've been able to learn. If I go to my customer dashboard, based on this transaction I've done, um, you can see list of customer transactions standing. If I go to, you can see statement of customer transactions. You can pick from, these are just search criteria in this monthly view report. You can just show you customer transactions for Ajib. So you see the rundown of the GL for Ajib. So this will take us to the end of this class. Remember, this is just to look at, today we have looked at the dashboard, we have looked at big view, we have looked at customer transactions. Um, if you have any question, um, you can let me know. Meanwhile, we'll forward this video to you and you can use the demo to practice more. And if you want to log out from your Sage, please log out with your, use the option here, which is the logout screen. Click on logout, and why not? If you want to rate your experience, you do. If you want to log in, just go type Sage 1 login, and can come back and log into your system. So just to briefly show you when you're creating your customer, the point where you need to select your add a customer. Then at the bottom here, please select whether this customer is a Naira, USD, and depending on your business relationship with your customer. You need to log this out. So thank you very much, and this is just a brief video to actually walk you through this process. Do have a lovely day. If you have any questions, please you can send us our emails. We will have access to our emails, or you can call me directly. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.